Alright, so I'm back with another monthly recap of all the trades I took during April using my liquidity supply and demand strategy. I've actually kept up with them the last few months, so it's kind of tradition to do now. But it was another pretty good month. Hopefully we can keep this momentum going into May. But starting right here with GJ 5 minute, we had this beautiful setup right here. Not really much to complain about here. As you can see, we had our supply zone, we had a big drop, so we mark it out as normal. We then came up, forming a decent level of liquidity. So we have our supply, we have our liquidity, we then broke the low, giving us the necessary break of structure we need in order for this to be valid. We then came up pretty directly to the zone, got a good rejection, and we entered on the bearish close. If you didn't watch my last video on how to trade the 5 minute using this strategy, then I would recommend it. I go through all the entry methods, what makes a setup valid, etc. And this right here is a pretty good example of it. And if I bring up the TP rules for GJ right here, for a stop loss of 11.11 pips or above, close full at 1 to 2, which this was a 14.8 pip stop loss, so we closed a full at 1 to 2. I could have probably trailed this on the 1 minute for a bit of a higher risk to reward. However, I was content with my 1 to 2, and that's because we were also in another trade on GJ at the same time, which you can see up here. This was a 30-minute trade. If you don't know, I trade the 30-minute and the 5-minute. I consider the 30-minute to be my main time frame. However, the 5-minute is really good for some extra profits. So yeah, just up here, you can see the 30-minute trade that I entered. Same thing once again. We had our supply zone with this push down, created our liquidity, broke the low, came up to the zone cleanly, and had our rejection. Now it does look like it might be tapped there, but if we zoom in, this was an untapped zone, which is a very important rule that we have for liquidity supply and demand. The liquidity cannot tap the zone, or it just becomes invalid. But yeah, for this one, I believe I entered on the break of candle, which if you don't know, is just when the candle breaks past the previous one. That's of course been explained many a time. It was actually a very wide stop loss. I might have had it a little bit lower just to make up for that. I might have had a max stop loss or something in place. But what I do know is that I just went for a very simple 1 to 3 on this trade. Now outside of the setup itself, which is beautiful, the reason I like this is because we come down, we're obviously very bearish from here. We then failed to take out this high right here, and then started giving some rejections. We also had a lot of gaps to fill down here, which as you can see, we did fill quite a lot of before continuing bullish. So I'm pretty happy with my analysis to just go for a 1 to 3 here. I didn't want to get greedy, as I believe we were reacting from a key level on the daily time frame here. Let me quickly check. Yeah, you can see we were definitely given some reactions at this price previously, just over here, and over here. So I was thinking that price could definitely potentially go bullish here. Didn't want to take anything above a 1 to 3, but a 1 to 3 is our minimum risk to reward for the 30 minutes, so I wasn't going to go any lower than that. But yeah, very nice 2 trades right there. That gave us 5% in total, no complaints at all. However, during this week, we also had this 5-minute trade right here, also on GJ. This whole week was just pretty much filled with GJ, I remember. It was pretty weird. But as you can see, once again, we had our big push down, supply zone gets created, we then make our liquidity, break the low, come up to the zone, same stuff as always. We got our rejection. If we bring up the stop loss rules, this one's pretty easy. For a stop loss above 11.1 pips, close full at 1 to 2, same thing again. And yeah, unfortunately this did not reach it, and we did take a loss on this one. This was one of those unfortunate situations where we went literally like a few pips higher and then continued bearish as we had predicted. So yeah, bit unfortunate, but what can you do? We're already 5% up, so it's literally completely fine. You've got to expect losses. They're going to happen every month. If you can't handle them, then trading probably isn't for you. So yeah, just a quick loss right there. We did then have another loss right here. This one was actually really unfortunate. We had a really nice setup right here. We had our demand zone, liquidity, broken a high, and this is on UK 100, which is generally very bullish. So I was pretty confident taking this buy. We had our break of candle entry, really good rejections from the zone, but unfortunately we just kind of fizzled out into our stop loss, followed by the biggest crash stocks have seen in a very long time. So probably just an unfortunate time to be on any indice really. But this was a very nice setup. I followed my rules by taking it. Can't really complain. Once again, this is a 30-minute trade, so we don't have any TP rules. But TP at these highs over here was looking pretty good. But yeah, we absolutely did not reach them. Pretty unfortunate timing overall, but you know, once again, it happens. We're still 3% up just on this week alone. And adding on to that profit, we then had GBP NZD. This is now a main pair. Very clean trade overall, good price action. We just come from this pretty bearish run right here, and we had broken this pretty major low to the left, which to me seemed like we'd definitely continue bearish from here. So we had our push down, had our level of liquidity, had our break of structure right here, came up to the zone in a very straight line, so we'd need to retrace very soon. And yeah, this was a perfect place to do it. Break of candle entry once again. There's actually been a lot of break of candles here. Kind of didn't realize that. It doesn't happen too much, but when we've got this kind of momentum, it just does make it easier. Wouldn't have really mattered if we entered on the close. Still got the same risk to reward either way. It's just how I like to trade sometimes, a little bit more aggressive, but definitely works out a lot of the time. And in terms of TP for this one, I just took it at 1 to 4. Could have taken this a lot lower, somewhere around a 1 to 8. Actually, it continued dropping. This could have been a full 1 to 10. But I believe there was like a daily demand or something that I just didn't really want to mess with. So 4%, boom, easy work. Can't complain at all. By this point, we'd be 7% up. And this is really showing the profitable equity curve that the strategy has. The wins are much bigger than the losses. Even if we just have a 50% win rate on the month, we are in a lot of profit either way. That's really what makes this strategy so great. Oh, I almost forgot this trade right here. This honestly might have been a bit of a mistake of a trade because we did make a very obvious double top. I just thought that since we were very bullish, we'd come up and wick this point a couple times here. I thought it could just be a really good level of liquidity, very clear highs to take out. However, it was just a very obvious double top. I guess I should have realized that realistically. But the rejection from the zone was just really good. It would have probably just been a pretty low RR trade since the stop loss was so wide. However, just immediately went down and the whole market pretty much went bearish from there until recently it's gone back bullish. So yeah, that was a very quick loser, to be honest. Would then be 6% up on the month after that. We actually do have quite a few more trades to go through, so let me just get to them. This is one of the most beautiful trades of the month for sure. This was UJ, aka USD JPY, and yeah, this was just honestly textbook as fuck. Very clear supply area with a big push down. Very clear liquidity to take out, very clear break of structure, very clear price action up to the zone. A+, just A+ setup. That's all there is to say. We even took the liquidity out and immediately rejected, pretty much closing bullish. Gorgeous trade, yeah. 1 to 5 to the lows. Definitely could have taken this further in hindsight. I assume there was a reason that we didn't. But yeah, to be fair, this month we didn't have any really high risk to reward trades. It was just consistency, profitable equity curve in play. We did take quite a couple losses, but with the amount of wins we took, it was just undeniably a very good month. So yeah, I really don't have much else to say about this. Easy 5%. Between all the trades I went through so far, I think it would be 10% total. But unfortunately, GBP CAD had another stinker right here. Maybe not an A+ setup, but we did have everything we need in order to make this a valid setup. Very good rejection as well. Immediately lost though. Only issue really was that we were very high up in this leg right here, but we had also just done the exact same thing down, so I thought we might just want to mirror it pretty completely. But yeah, unfortunate loss. Once again, by this point we would be 9% in profit. Trying to count this up as we go along to make it easy to understand. But yeah, by this point it would be 9% up. Then we had GJ right here. I know we had quite a lot of setups this month. I did take quite a few. A lot of the time I am more conservative with my trading, but there were a lot of setups and a lot of them were quite nice, and luckily a lot of them won. But yeah, this GJ was not one of them winners. You can see to the left, we did take out a bunch of highs over here. Definitely looked bullish. We took out the liquidity here, entered the zone, gave a bullish close. Looked really nice, to be honest. Unfortunately, we did then have a news release. The reason I held through this, even though at the time it was like at entry, is just because in the past it's done pretty much nothing. I went through a bunch of months to just testing out different news volatilities, and this one very rarely does absolutely anything. Unfortunately, this is one of the times it did, and yeah, it stopped us out and then went in our direction, hitting what would have been an easy 1 to 10. So very unfortunate. Should have been careful with the news as always, but I was pretty confident that I wasn't going to do too much. Just unfortunate. But luckily GJ 5 minute has been killing it. This is a prime example of how important TP rules are. You can see, as always, boom, 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 come down to the zone, good rejection, enter on the bullish close right here, stop loss right below the candle. And if we bring up our stop loss based rules, or the TP rules, for a 9 pip stop loss, the rule is to close full at a 1 to 2.5. So right here, we hit 1 to 2.5 barely. Now obviously you do get spreads on your actual brokers. However, you generally want to go by the trading view charts. So even if this ended up being closer to maybe 2.3% or something, that doesn't really matter too much. That's something you got to sacrifice with the 5 minute, because the 5 minute isn't completely moving the markets like the 30 minute seems to. But you can easily get these quick, beautiful risk rewards for 2.5% that quick. That is nothing to complain about. That was like 20 minutes. Overall, very nice trade. GJ 5 minute killed it this month. It was literally 2 losses, 1 win, and that's about it for the 5 minute. It just gave us an extra 3.5% overall. Nothing to complain about at all. Yeah, this one was very nice. But for the final trade, we had this GBP NZD loss right here. Unfortunate to end the month on a loss. But yeah, this one ended pretty quickly. This is our only really large structure trade of the month. Had our drop, had our liquidity, broke the low, even created another level of liquidity right here before coming up to the zone. Not the cleanest price action coming up. As you can see, we did kind of make some bullish market structure. Maybe I should have been assigned to stay away from this, as we have now continued bullish. But yeah, we pretty much hit stop loss like immediately on this. And that ended us with a 10.5% month. The stats have been put in the Discord, of course. The last few months have been put in there. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, literally all the trades that I put in this video were sent to Mango Trade Ideas, where I basically share all the trades I'll be looking at for the day and everything I'm potentially looking at entering. And of course in there I'll be answering everyone's questions, giving more personal assistance. But yeah, pretty good month overall. 10.5% is nothing to scoff at. That's great. Obviously last month was a little bit better, but I wasn't expecting to beat that by any means. 20% or something, was it? That was ridiculous. Month before that was pretty on par with what I like to aim for, which was about 4% or something. But yeah, we're steadily getting up. Nothing to complain about at all. Let's hope May can be something similar to this or last month. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, I hope you got some value out of this, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.